I let you soak in that atmosphere, the atmosphere of bows. And so I'm thinking, as I do sometimes, occasionally, and what I like to do is feel like I'm important, don't we all? I want to do things of importance. And over the years, I've made a few bows, made a couple bows in my time. And I truly enjoy it. It's one of the things I do. I've made long bows and short bows and cross bows. There's a lot of things you can do with bows. And every one of them, with very few exceptions, I've really enjoyed and felt it's important that I bring this into the world. I've totally felt that with my paddle bows. I just love these things, you know, just kind of Sudbury-ish, kind of paddle bowy looking, kind of my own take on stuff, but I just like the curves. And up till recently, within probably the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years, I went away from my only backing method of sinew to rawhide, and it really adds a luster. Let me grab this molly and this paddle bow, and you can see there's a certain primitive feeling to these things, a certain primordial of taking the skin of an animal and bonding it to wood. And it goes along with back in the day, bygone era, back when we were truly Caucasus Mountain cave beasts, is that we would cover our boats, our hide boats, with skins. In fact, the advent of the boat in the northern climates is partly due to the fact that it's easier to hunt animals when they're swimming across rivers. And they made the boats out of the skins of those animals they killed. In fact, they would take the antlers, create clubs, and as the animals were crossing the rivers, they'd paddle out to them in their skin boats, club them over the head, and drag them to shore. People used to cover their abodes, their homes, with the skins of great animals back when we were hunting woolly mammoths and such, with maybe spears, maybe darts, maybe atlatls, maybe 30-06s, just joking. So there's a certain connection we have with taking these materials that we can procure from the forest and blending them together. Sinew strings, notwithstanding. I like saying notwithstanding. Anyway, it's been kind of a very thoughtful, tricky year. You know, stuff happens, but it happens to us all. And I've been kind of slowed down in the endeavor of just producing bows. It's like, I'm thinking about stuff. I'm thinking about life. You truly feel your own mortality to a greater extent when you lose your parents. It just happens. Now we're next in line on that great conveyor belt of life. And so it's like, I've got the makings of a black locust bow, 2 Osage bows. These bows, I need to put the tips on and paint them. I wait quite a bit after I rawhide back them to let everything dry. It's like, what do I do? What do I do that's important? And it's like, you know, I've made various styles of mollies, and I'm not saying that this one is the prototypical, ancient, 10,000 year old bow that was found in the bogs of Holmgaard, Denmark. It's like, why don't I? Why don't I produce a replica bow of that first, the Prima bow, the very first one? It's not beyond my technology. And so what I have done is I've gone to Traditional Bowyer's Bibles, Volume 3, in the vicinity of page 44, the Holmgaard bow. The Holmgaard is the oldest artifact, definitely identified as a bow. It arose from a pre-agricultural, pre-warfare culture. Its maker was a member of a band which gathered and hunted for a living without benefit of writing, pottery, cloth, smelted metal. They never even smelted metal. The wheel or settled communities. It was likely just an average bow of the time and place, but is superior to the average wooden bow of the present. Nice. And so, Callahan, Everett Callahan of Virginia, actually studied this artifact, and using his powers of measurement, you can see that down here, actually drew this thing out to the fraction of a millimeter. And it's on a scale. It has the thickness. It even has the back contour. So using mathematics, I can determine the exact diameter of the tree that it was made from. So I can match this. And so what I have been doing in my quest for the most important bow that I've ever made is I've been working out the template of the very first artifact known to be a bow. And here it is, within variances of a fraction of a millimeter. It is a little bit longer. It's easy just to extend it because the original one is 62 inches, and people were of a lower average height than they are today. So my question is, do I do it exactly, or do I just kind of shoot the end a little bit and account for the greater height of people? And I suppose they say that this was just an average bow, so that means that some of them were longer than others, some of them were shorter, so I am not out of bounds extending it to 66 inches, our standard bow length, going from 62 to 64 or 66, only 4-inch difference, 2 inches at each tip. All is good. It will be a bow that we can all shoot without having to degrade, change, modify the shape of that original artifact. Now the interesting thing is, because I overthink things, that's just what I do, I'm looking at it. And I'm going to grab this one back here, which actually, if you look at this picture in the Boyer's Bibles, one that probably Tim Baker made, I'm not sure, Tim the Man Baker, resembles this one. So I'm not a heretic for producing this one. Other people have taken a variation on a theme, so that is my excuse to produce this really cool bow. And I like it because it's got that wide blade that I can paint. And so I'm looking at it. And typically, as the one in the Boyer's Bibles and the ones you see produced by good bowyers, bow makers on YouTube, they tend to have it thin here and then it thickens out where there's a greater constriction to the tip. Absorb that. It's thickened a little bit because we, as modern people, and these probably were produced a long time ago because there's nothing new under the sun when you make a bow, wooden bow, to account for the greater restriction of this, add mass to the back, the thickness. Let me put this away and then grab this one. I want you to think about this stuff. This is a thinking trip. A thinking. Thinky McThinker. On this, the original one, this is just, you know what the shape of this is. Thickened in the handle, of course, because it's narrow. And then basically, it's by and large the same thickness the whole way. Not exaggerated thickness, just kind of the same. And then this is what you're going to have to get used to. If you decide that you do want to shoot an actual Holmgaard style bow, you're going to have to get used to the fact that these go off into actual points, and I am going to put a collar of sinew on here. And so they're a little odd that way. There's not string grooves, no string grooves, just a collar of sinew there. Is that as you go further and further out, the leverage factor means that if this was just, say, a ruler, just a ruler, same thickness, it would bend more in the center than out here. And so we're getting the advantage, even though I'm pinching off the tips here, it's not like this one, that the thickness, if it's about even, without making it thicker down here, will make these tips stiffen as they go out. It's entirely possible, we shall see, that maybe they will bend a little bit where the constriction starts, a little bit, but I'm thinking of the primitive person. I hate that term. They were clever. They were darn clever. That advanced society that developed this probably was like, looking at it, this is where it constricts, not overthinking it like me, and they did it, made a good bow, and they're like, oh, it's bending slightly there. I should make it thicker. It's like, whatever. As long as you don't get a hinge here, and you do start getting some thickening out here, you're getting the Holmgaard effect. The Muller-Gay bed effect. And I say that with some reservation because point out on a map where Muller-Gay bed Denmark is. If you actually try to research it, you're not going to find anything. It was kind of like this fluid regional kind of description of the seafaring peoples of that region, whereas Holmgaard is a place. So I'm going to call this a Holmgaard. And that is that. I am going to, I do a lot of I am going to, but I'm actually working on this one, is that given the cross-section here, I can actually go out ash, hop horn beam, whatever, oak, match the exact size of the original one and match it to this. And so I can create a stave bow just like this. But with my templates, I'm going to do a thickness one here too, so I can like actually match the thickness of these things. Callahan, by the way, made it a little thinner, a couple millimeters thinner throughout, just because it created a heavy bow, probably for their 25-inch draw, but he wanted to draw it out a little bit, so pardon the pun, he made it a little thinner. I also want to do this in red oak, easily reproducible, because I mean, you just go out and buy the wood if you can find it. It's easy to do. And rawhide back it to blend that wood with the rawhide. And so this is going to be, I think, my crowning achievement. I can make longbows. A lot of people make longbows. I can make paddle bows. Not so many people make those. But if you're searching for, say, an affordable, and I use that term along with board bows because they are more affordable to make, I can produce an affordable actual reproduction of the Prima bow, the oldest artifact known to be a bow, and that actually is quite exciting. The last portion, if you're keen of eye, you know it pinches out here a little bit, and if you're able to use your Superman vision, it's a little asymmetrical. The original bow was asymmetrical, so I'm fighting the urge to like just take the measurements of one side and then do it on the other. I am, to the best of my abilities, reproducing the original artifact. And that'll go into also, I'm going to expand, I'm pointing at the cross section here where I can see the radius of the tree it was made from, the sapling. Also on my red oak one, it's going to be a true representation of this thing. This is actually exciting. It's very exciting. I love it. I love it. I want more of it. Nice. All right. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. And I have a couple people that were waiting for paddle bows. Here they are. I have two people that this one right here is up for grabs. I'm not going to keep it because I can always make another one. I have my own paddle bow in my original trim with the 3 dots and the tip stain, so that's good enough for me. I'll probably also keep the first one of these things. That's how we roll around here.